late. For what? The Republic to fall? It already has, and you just can't see it.
Fight Stick Art, they ask, why do you think so many gamers don't play fighting games? They were kind enough to also tag me and include me into this conversation. This question is the same exact thing Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat are asking themselves every single day. One of the biggest mistakes that fighting games made, in my opinion, is holding on to the arcade era for so long. They dominated arcades, but once gaming shifted from arcades to consoles, PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, they really didn't let go. They started doing split releases and favoring arcade over consoles. Every single Tekken game has came out on arcades before consoles, even Tekken 7, which is ridiculous to think about. Now, of course, Harada says they did this as a beta to test the game, to optimize it, but at that point in time, they should have made the switch to do actual betas. Call of Duty has been doing betas since PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, so it's just a disconnect there in what the fighting game developers were focused on and what everyone else was focused on. Another missed opportunity for the fighting game genre was when the PlayStation 3 came out and the Xbox 360 came out. Those two consoles ushered in this online era that we live in today, where everything from arcades all the way up until PlayStation 2 was basically about playing at home with your friends, with your family, sitting on the couch. PlayStation 3 and 360 was all about online, playing with random people and playing with friends. It created this new world of gaming. Even though some of the best fighting games of all time, in my opinion, were released in that era, right? Mortal Kombat 9, Street Fighter 4. They were just so behind. They were so late. We often talk about the dark age of fighting games, where before Street Fighter 4, there was this long gap of nothing. And in that gap, what were players doing? I think at a certain point, it was destined for fighting games to lose some of its player base, but where they messed up is how they responded to the online era. A lot of the problems are still being felt to today. In the fighting game community, we talk about rollback netcode, we talk about online infrastructure, all of this stuff as if it's like 2010. The fact that Tekken 7 and Guilty Gear and all of these games are being plagued by issues that should have been resolved a decade ago, it just shows how behind they are. Tekken 7 is the most successful Tekken ever made. Yet, right now, it's one of the most unplayable games on the market. It will be difficult to find a game that's in worse condition than Tekken 7 right now. One game that I often make a mental comparison to is PUBG. PUBG was a game that exploded in success. It captured the world. It ushered in the battle royale genre. But PUBG just could not fix its game. Lag, crashing, delays, cheaters, hackers. It could not do it. And what happened? Fortnite takes over. Call of Duty takes back the title. Fighting games is the same exact thing, just over a longer, drawn out period. They had the title. They had the opportunity to truly dominate, but they focused on arcades, and when the online era came along, they just ignored it. And the reason why that time is so important is because that moment defined where we are today. Call of Duty started there, and it controls everything now because that is where people grew up. That's what they keep going back to it. They're used to it. They know it. It's familiar. I kind of want to shift the discussion. I think also what plays into people not playing fighting games is also the one-on-one aspect. When you play Tekken, Mortal Kombat, or Street Fighter, it's literally you against me. No one else. There's no luck. There's no random elements, nothing. Even in Smash, they turn all of that random luck off. This really is a cutthroat environment, far more cutthroat than pretty much any other gaming genre. Yes, Call of Duty, you can play Search and Destroy, which is the most try-hard games, in Call of Duty. One thing that I'm noticing with fighting games is that they struggle with building a online community. Everything is kind of isolated and everything is kind of disconnected. It's not your team and my team, it's you and me. And that has a different effect on the mind. It's a lot more pressure, it's a lot more intensity. And some people just are not prepared for that. Especially, and this goes back to PlayStation 3 and 360, when they haven't experienced anything like that up until this point. Another reason why people are so attuned to the shooting game genre is because it's been there their whole life. Talking a little bit about Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6, and Mortal Kombat 12, I really think right now fighting games have the opportunity. They have the potential to take back what they lost. Even though Street Fighter 5 slipped up, Street Fighter 6 looks amazing. Just the memes, the online community, the online presence. When I look at that game, I think this is a confident, competent fighting game. Tekken 8, even though we haven't seen that much of it, it also looked very confident, very competent. We're in the year 2023, and for the first time ever, I'm seeing fighting games that are proud to be a fighting game. They are fully embracing the online era. None of them are mentioning arcades. All of them are mentioning strong online connectability. It's sad that these conversations are taking place now, but it's better late than never. The final thing that I want to talk about for this video is fighting games in comparison to Elden Ring, League of Legends, Dota 2, or Smite. A topic that's always discussed with fighting games is how complicated they are. You can play Call of Duty with the left trigger, the right trigger, and both of your analog sticks. That's literally all you need is 4 buttons to play the game at the bare minimum. Fighting games is far from that. You need a whole lot more buttons and you need a whole lot more synchronization. And that's something that people are not really used to. But also too, when you talk about games like Elden Ring, that is a game that takes a lot more synchronization, recognizing patterns, spacing, attack combinations, combos, labbing the matchup. The same thing that fighting games have always been doing, Elden Ring kind of perfects it. And you can see how popular that game is and how much people love it. It's a very difficult game that follows a lot of the same things that fighting games do. But I think Elden Ring just does it to a level that is far greater than what any other fighting game has achieved. When you talk about a game like League of Legends is also a game that is very complicated. A lot of labbing, a lot of prepping, a lot of understanding characters and moves is also done in that game. It's a very difficult game. If you ever played it, if you ever seen it, you know how complex it is. Yet, that is another big, massive game. It has a tournament presence that is bigger than pretty much any other on the planet. So just because something is complicated or difficult doesn't make it a bad thing. I think a lot of people, they like a challenge. They like a sense of getting better and better and better and growing as a player. Tekken 7 is the same exact game for you that it is for me. And the only difference is how we play it, how we interact with it. And I think fighting game developers are understanding this, and a lot of the changes that they're making going from 7 to 8 and 5 to 6, 11 to 12 is sort of trying to understand that. This right now is going to be another major defining moment for fighting games. The arcade era was a major mess up on fighting games part, but right now they have the opportunity to fix it, reestablish themselves as gaming titans. I know I was kind of all over the place in this video, but I think the conversation is so complex and so twisted, and a discussion like this is bound to go in many different directions. But at the same time, the path only leads to 2 places: success or failure. Thank you everyone for watching. Leave a like on this video, also subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one, and bye bye.